Feels like forever ago since the last time we were here for some racing. With no TNT last Thursday night, the Super Late Models will entertain us for 2 consecutive races. They come to the Dover Motor Speedway where we're about to go racing. The pace car is going to peel off for 100 laps around the Monster Mile. John Hagen and Kevin Feemster are going to lead us to the line. The Bristol winner on the outside of the newcomer Hagen. The green flag is out. Let's go racing. Hagen leads the first lap at the Dover Motor Speedway. Then Indiana's Kevin Feemster follows in that second position. Ryan Pittman rolling in the third spot, now trying to gain further ground, but Mark Dila won't let him, and Tommy Withers now starting to sneak behind him as well. The Viagra machine holding off points leader Dustin Painter, and then Thomas Andrews in a slick-looking number 2 Quaker State late model. Up at a turn number 4 behind the North Carolinian. John Hagen goes green 23.64. Kevin Feemster is in that second spot, 23.67. Pittman with a mirror full of Dila, and now to the left-hand side, the 08 has to defend. 8-0 is going to overtake the 08 out of turn number 4. Pittman and Dila side by side in the 8-0. Scraping a little bit of the wall. Guys are going to do that today. They're going to scrape the wall. You can see Anthony Cordre's already picked up a couple of marks. John Hagen keeps going purple. 23.63. Kevin Feemster now behind him. And this is ridiculous. 23 second laps at Dover. This is unbelievable. But look at this. Mark Dila, 23.60. These cars just keep getting quicker. I'm excited to see just how much faster they go. Let's go on board with the 8-0. Everybody is getting faster on this racetrack. Tommy Withers now chasing down Thomas Andrews. This is for the 6th position. Anthony Cordre now sitting in 9th, half a second behind Matt Kent. Dustin Painter looks like he's holding up a ton of traffic. Within 2/10 that whole way, you just can't separate them. Thomas Andrews on the back end of the top 5, chasing down Dustin Painter. Tommy Withers now losing ground, and Ryan Pittman now starting to catch up to him. Looking at the points coming into this 7th race, Dustin Painter leads the standings. Austin Purnell running that part-time schedule. He actually sits 2nd in the standings with 3 wins, but he's not here tonight, so he's going to lose some spots in this championship. Anthony Cordre running 4th in those point standings just based on starts and finishes alone. Consistency is his reason for being in the top 5. Virginia's Tommy Withers running 6th in the race, 3rd in the standings. And we're going to turn these points over a bit tonight. Ryan Pittman not in tonight's race, nor is Briley Wright. The Bristol winner, Kevin Feemster, is definitely here, so he's going to climb a lot closer to that top 5. Canadian Brennan Forseal and native Delaware driver Ryan Pennell not here tonight, but then Mark Dila, who is rounding out the top 10, he is here tonight. Dila in that monster machine running in 3rd. He's 1 second off the lead Well, he's 1 second off Kevin Feemster, and Kevin Feemster is 9/10 of a second off John Hagen. "13 laps complete, and if they don't wreck, they're going to finish this race in record time. Putting in laps that are, what, now close to 24-second laps. It's just marvelous what they've done in these first few minutes of racing, and Tommy Withers still trying to get around Thomas Andrews, the Virginian, chasing down the New Jersey pilot. This for 5th. "15 laps underway, and now the Virginian looks like he's going to get to the inside of the New Jersey pilot. Andrews top side in that number 2, now just trying to outlast the number 6 of Withers. It's Tommy on Tommy racing through 3 and 4. 16 laps now underway at Dover. Andrews still holds on to 5th. Pittman now getting even closer, but is that Andrews in the wall? And it is. And you just hear just that sigh of the race car not singing at full song, and the left side of that race car has been pancaked. Let's see what happened again. Oh, he just got loose out of the corner. You know, and not as hard a hit as I thought. He just really got loose off the corner, and there he goes again, sliding the number 2 machine. Texas A&M pitcher Matthew Kent now sits behind Thomas Andrews. 19 laps underway at Dover. And the Season 4 Thursday Night Thunder champion. Just trying to hold it together until that break. We will have a halfway flag. 50 laps into this race. John Hagen leading now by an almost unbelievable 1.2 seconds over Kevin Feemster, but is the Indiana pilot holding back? 1/5 of the way through the race, it's clear that Hagen is quite the quick driver. Feemster riding behind him, and Mark Diehl now rolling in 3rd. And the drivers are spread out now. You can see it's, what, 1.4 seconds back to each driver. Dustin Painter, 1.3 seconds behind the podium. Tommy Withers, 1.2 seconds behind him, 1.2 seconds to Ryan Pittman. And then Thomas Andrews only half a second ahead of Matt Kent. Andrews with a big slide out of turn number 2. Kent draws closer. Hagen gets further. 1.5 seconds the gap from 1st to 2nd. Matt Kent now trying to chase down the number 2. On board with the 3-1. And the 2 has crashed. There goes Thomas Andrews. He spins it around. Here comes Anthony Cordray. Is he going to be able to avoid the 2 car? He does. No caution as the leader goes around Thomas Andrews. 1 car spinning by himself does not bring out the yellow in the Xtreme Series, and the rest of the field will try to get around him, but how will he get back up to speed? Well, not fantastic. But the number 2 will get back to work, and we'll see if we can get him his lap back at least. If you just tuned in, you have not missed a thing. Fantastic racing, and most recently, New Jersey's Thomas Andrews going for a spill. And finally, the driver of the 2 car gets it going again as Bama Tram is in the house. Mama Balls, we were just talking about Terry, your boy, at Hickory recently, which is pretty big. Good to see you, Mama Balls, and shout out Terry. Shout out to the whole Vols family. You know what? I need to keep up with him. I need to get at him on Twitter here. It's been a while since I talked to him. Got to see how he's doing. But Mama Vols, big fan of the Crimson Tide and a really uncertain football season coming up, Mama Vols. You tell me. I have no idea how Alabama football's doing, but I was reading something here recently about how Nick Saban's really enjoying his retirement. And I just thought to myself, what is the standard now for SEC football? What's the standard now for second place? Mark Dila has closed in to 1 second on Kevin Feemster. Is the 1 car just kind of riding around until that halfway? On board with Feemster. Dila gives it a bit of a shake out of turn number 2. And the sun gets a little further in the sky. Mark Dila within 0.8 to Kevin Feemster now. Dila up 2 places from where he started. Ryan Pittman, I said he wasn't in this race earlier. I was wrong, as is per usual. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Ryan Pittman right now about 1 second behind Tommy Withers. Bama Trama thinks Alabama football is going to be okay. I'm interested to find out. Myself, I like Miami, so we'll see exactly what happens with the future of Miami football. Who has any clue? Ryan Pittman's down 3 places from where he's started, and he's bringing that Johnny Benson scheme closer to the top 5 where Tommy Withers resides, the driver of the number 6 Viagra machine. Looks to not have any scrapes as of yet. He's run a pretty great race so far, 33 laps. Underway. What is that, a third of the way, if my math is right? Never is, but I think that's 1/3 of the way through. Shout out Infraction Music as well, who has a playlist on Spotify and does a lot of copyright-free music as well. So shout out Infraction Music. They provide a lot of the intro music. They provide the intro music for ARCS Xtreme and Thursday Night Thunder. So thank you to them. John Hagan has a 1.7 second lead as Anthony Cordray tries to get out of the way of the Louis Vuitton race leader. 1.6 seconds the gap now. Kevin Feemster 0.6 of a second ahead of Mark Dila. 15 laps to the halfway break. Thomas Andrews just trying to survive this one. He sits 1 lap behind the race leader John Hagan, who's now coming out of turn number 4 ahead of Anthony Cordray. And Cordray decides he's going to hit the wall one more time. Got to get in a couple of knocks before the halfway mark. He's 9 seconds ahead of Thomas Andrews in 9th. I love the sound of those things when they come into turn number 3. You can just tell they're at just an unbelievable high pitch. Let's go on board with Kevin Feemster for a lap at Dover. Dila's on his back bumper now. Dila knocking on the back door, and Kevin Feemster has to answer. Or will he just try and keep it shut all the way until the break? Dila in the 8-0 opens up the inside lane. Feemster closes the door coming out of turn number 4. And you got to think at these many iRacing miles an hour. This is now 140 coming out of the corner. Listen to the car. Watch the number grow in the bottom right. 163 miles an hour. That's got to be near Cup speeds, if not greater than Cup speeds. I'm really interested now to find out. It's 11 laps until the break, and Kevin Feemster really putting the hammer down, or maybe Mark Dila is just going to ride around until the break. 0.3 of a second between them, and Dustin Painter now getting closer. Dila finally might have some daylight on the inside. He's got to get a really good run out of the corner. Dila now trying to drag race with Feemster, but he doesn't quite have... He's got the speed, but he doesn't have the run. He doesn't have the momentum coming up out of the corner, and this is a move that could save Kevin Feemster and get him a couple of more spots towards the end. But he just slides so far up the racetrack in the entry. You can see Dila just has more grip on the inside of the corner. And Feemster losing more time on corner entry than he's gaining out of corner exit. But watch the run this time. He's not able to go as far because he's not coming up the bottom. He's not coming off the bottom of the racetrack. Dila's got the inside line now, and he'll have the position coming out of 2. Kevin Feemster's going to try the undercut out of turn number 2. And Kevin might just have to ride along for the rest of this race stage, although he's trying again. Dila's messed up the line now. Will Feemster go to the inside? He will go to the inside out of turn number 4. And Feemster now riding behind Dila and really pushing the envelope. On board with the 1. Four tenths, the gap between these guys now. Mark Dila starting to run away with this second position, up 3 places from where he started. Dustin Painter now 0.6 behind Kevin Feemster. John Hagen running away with this race. He's led every lap so far, and we're coming to the halfway break at lap number 50. We've run caution-free, but for one incident involving Thomas Andrews out of turn number 4. And the pilot of the number 2 just got a little too high. Wide and handsome. Thomas Andrews sitting in 9th, still running, just waiting for the halfway flag. So it'll be John Hagen, Mark Dila, and maybe if Dustin Painter can mount one more charge on Indiana's Kevin Feemster, he might change the top 3. Painter sent it in really deep in turn number 3. You see he caught the apron. It messed him up. He will complete lap 49 in the 4th position. And I'm waiting on the caution. These guys are still racing. Let's genuinely see what happens. Feemster to the inside of Dila, and there is the caution now after John Hagen completes lap number 50. So it's 4-4, 8-0-1, your top three after the first 50 laps at Dover. Caution free, one car spin. The 2 car of Thomas Andrews was the 1 car that spun out of turn number 4. So drivers will take a break, and so will we, fans. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have just under 50 laps of racing to go. John Hagen dominated the first half of the race, but we'll see if he's got what it takes to dominate the second half. We'll be back with more Xtreme racing in just 2 minutes. On board with Thomas Andrews making his way back to the front of the field, and there is John Hagen at the front of the field, dominating that first half of the race. Kevin Feemster is going to start to his outside. Mark Dila up 2 places from where he started, starting in that 3rd position Everybody coming down between laps 51 and 53. Thomas Andrews most notably coming down on lap 53. Andrews going to restart on the same lap as the rest of the drivers. Anthony Cordray starting one lap off the pace, but somehow in front of Thomas Andrews. Anyway, let's go racing. John Hagan's going to have control. Kevin Feemster to his outside. Hagan with an amazing restart. Feemster putting it down too heavily, and he can't catch up. Hagan, the same way he started that race, jumps out to a huge start. Mark Dila takes big advantage, and he's now in second. Dila looked like he almost got in the wall coming into turn number 1. Dila on the... Oh, look at Pittman get loose right there on the inside of Kevin Feemster. Dila running away with second. Pittman wants to get closer to the top of the points. Hagan goes purple again, 23 1/2 seconds. John Hagan, fastest again. He's already up to a 1 second lead ahead of Mark Dila, who now turns in his quickest lap. 2nd through 7th. Dila through Kent all put in green laps. Personal bests. The track just gets faster. So it looks like it's going to be a race for second place unless Mark Dila is going to get the let out right here. 9/10 already the gap. Kevin Feemster now trying to sneak in. Matt Kent in 7th, now coming up behind Tommy Withers. 2/10 the gap. Withers gives it a wiggle out of turn number 4. Dustin Painter, 0.6 of a second between him and Tommy Withers. Ryan Pittman, the next car on Painter's list. And closer still. Here comes Matt Kent on board with the 3-1. Hagan in the double 4, 7/10 ahead of Mark Dila, and over the last 5 laps, Dila has been quicker than Hagan. Dila slowly reeling in the double 4, but Feemster quicker than both Dila and Hagan. What did the 1 car do to his race car? That last time by. John Hagan putting in the quickest lap, 23.85. And at this point, the difference in these drivers' laps are hundredths of a second. Actual hundredths of a second now. So Kevin Feemster gets closer still. Matt Kent still trying to catch up to Tommy Withers. Dustin Painter on an island with Ryan Pittman. These two slugging it out for the 4th position. Taking a look at the MLB scores, if I can manage to get the words out of my mouth here. Bottom of the 8th. Mets ahead of the Pirates, 6 runs to 3. Royals right now on top of the White Sox, 2-0, top of the 9th. Padres 7, Brewers 3, top of the 7th. Braves and Astros 2-1, with Atlanta leading that one in the bottom of the 5th. Chicago Cubs over the Diamondbacks, even at nothing. They just started. Same with the Cardinals and Athletics. Reds and Mariners just kicked off as well. 0-0. Ryan Pittman, 0-8, 0.4 of a second ahead of Dustin Painter. Dila still within 0.7, but now time is starting to tick further down. Drivers can make it approximately 50 laps on one tank of fuel, so if it does go into overtime, which looks unlikely, but if it does, fuel's going to be a factor. I just realized those race facts about Dover Motor Speedway are super incorrect. This place has been paved as long as I can remember, and I'm pretty sure it didn't open in the 50s. It used to be a horse track, I can tell you that much. And as one driver put it in practice, that castle-looking thing on the backstretch, that is the hotel that overlooks what was once the Dover Downs horse track and the Dover Downs Speedway, now the Dover Motor Speedway. And if one thing stays consistent, it's that Miles the Monster still lives outside, and he's reached out and grabbed a couple drivers today. Thomas Andrews being one of them in his Quaker State machine. He's sitting in 8th right now. Matt Kent, he caught a piece on the right front there, the 31. Sits behind Tommy Withers, who for the most part looks pristine. Dustin Painter looking good as well after the break. 0.3 of a second further is Ryan Pittman. And Mark Dila's kind of hit a wall. He's caught up to John Hagan, but 0.6 is as far as he's going to go. And this has been the difference over the last 5 laps. And just as I say that, John Hagan throws the tail out a little bit, and he invites... I'm sorry, did I say John Hagan? Yeah, John Hagan throws the tail out. He invites Mark Dila to within half a second. You know, just to say hi, how you doing? Kevin Feemster running in 3rd. The Bristol winner is not out of the realm of winning this race. He's going to need a caution, and he's going to have to get a lot closer, but I've seen crazier things happen. I think if you watch racing, you've definitely seen crazier things happen than... Hell, if you watch that Bristol race where Kevin Feemster ended up winning his one and only race, you have definitely seen crazier things happen in iRacing than Kevin Feemster coming back from 3rd all the way up to where John Hagan sits to win. The double 4 now a half second ahead of Mark Dila, who's now caught the scent. He's within 0.5 to John Hagan. Further on back, Dustin Painter. He's within 0.2 to Ryan Pittman. Matt Kent within those same 0.2 to Tommy Withers. 6th and 7th fighting it out. Withers with a big slip. Here comes Matt Kent. "24 laps to go next time by, and it's just getting closer and closer." Oh, look at Dustin Painter. He really went down low. He had a huge slide out of turn 2. Now Painter kind of opened up his own island here. 0.8 to the front, 0.8 to the back. Matt Kent with a big run on Tommy Withers, who slides out of turn number 2. And the same thing that happened to Thomas Andrews at the beginning of this race just happened to Tommy Withers. Have a look at the 6. And Withers keeps it off the wall. Great save by the Virginian. Withers in 7th. Thomas Andrews running in 8th. Anthony Cordray in 9th. There's Dustin Painter in 5th, now trying to catch back up to Ryan Pittman. Kevin Feemster in 3rd. He's sliding back into Pittman's vision. And Mark Dila's only 0.4 behind John Hagan. 4/10 now. And just inching. Dila has been inching closer to that 44. But what does the saying go? It's one thing to catch him and it's another thing to pass him. We'll see if Dila can A, catch him, and then B, pass him in these next 22, now 21 laps. And of course, we'll see what kind of short track racing just comes out tonight. Sparks coming off the side of car 8-0. It's going to be a two-horse race to the end. Kevin Feemster 1.5 seconds behind them both. Ryan Pittman now being just reeled in by Dustin Painter. Painter decides he's going to scrape the wall, and that does it there. So that's going to be the battle for the 4th position, and Painter's going to need to rely on a lot of help to get that one back. Ryan Pittman, 1.3 seconds, now ahead of Dustin Painter. And Kevin Feemster back on the run from Pittman. Mark Dila, 9/10. Now 1 second behind John Hagan. Did Dila make a mistake? 4/10 was the gap, and now it's 1.1 seconds in the stretch of 2 corners. Tommy Withers got back around Matt Kent. Here comes the Texas A&M pitcher to the inside of the Virginian. 16 to go. Oh, it's been a blast watching these things go around at just ludicrous speeds. It's why I love sim racing, isn't it? It's because your imagination can just go wild. We've got super late models putting on a great show at the Dover Motor Speedway. I think John Hagan might have just made a mistake because Mark Dila is back on his bumper again. The tires really have to be at a point now where they're wearing so hard that the drivers are going to make more and more mistakes. So now it's a question of who's going to survive the longest. Hagan and Dila. 8/10 the difference. 14 to go this time by. Matt Kent within 2/10 to Tommy Withers. And this is Kent in the 3-1. I think he might have just gotten loose out of 4. Might have hit a wall, and then Tommy Withers got around him. And now look, they've made more contact. Matthew Kent getting around Tommy Withers. Oh, Withers just slaps the wall. No contact between them, actually. It's Withers with all the contact. Matt Kent passing him with ease. And that's the battle for the 6th position. So Kent now 2/10 ahead of Withers. These two are going to continue to fight. A dozen laps left next time. 08 Johnny Benson machine, 4/10 ahead of the 6.5 Smith & Wesson machine. Pontiac versus Camry for the 4th position. Tommy Withers in his Ford. Now trying to chase down Matt Kent in what I think is a Chevrolet. Those look like SS decals. 6 car to the inside. He gets right up to that 3-1. Trying to take any air off the spoiler. 6 car gets really, really loose. And Tommy Withers giving it everything. On board with the 6. And they continue to turn circles. John Hagen, 1 second ahead of Mark Dila with 9 at the line. And does Dila... Oh, big contact here. Thomas Andrews, Anthony Cordray, 2 cars making contact out of turn number 4, coming both to a halt. We don't stay green. The first caution of the race on lap 91. Thomas Andrews and Anthony Cordray. Andrews going really high out of turn number 4. Cordray to the inside of him. On board with the 2. So it's John Hagen at the front of this race with Mark Dila behind him. We're going to restart inside the final 6 laps of competition. Indiana's Kevin Feemster sits in 3rd, Ryan Pittman in 4th, and Dustin Painter in 5th. Matthew Kent and Tommy Withers will once again reprise their afternoon-long battle. Anthony Cordray in 8th, Thomas Andrews in 9th, both a couple of laps off the pace. We'll see where they restart. But Hagen will have control if he doesn't come down into the pits. Mark Dila sits behind him. And it's been a fun race so far. I've had fun. I hope you've had fun. If you've just tuned in, a mostly uneventful race. Thomas Andrews having the first and only incident in the number 2. This on lap 23, and most recently on lap 91. Andrews and Cordray collide down the front straight. So we're going to let them get settled. We're going to take one more break before we call it quits tonight. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in 60 seconds. That's it. 60 measly seconds. We'll be back with the finish of the super late models at Dover. The points coming into this race, Dustin Painter with control of the table. 247 to Austin Purnell's 188. Purnell not in tonight's race. Tommy Withers is in tonight's race, just 1 point off of Purnell. So Tommy Withers will get into the second spot in points. Anthony Cordray just 2 points behind him. So with another finish tonight, Cordray will also climb in the standings. And none of these numbers are of any importance to the guys in this race because it's 4 laps to go. 4 miles. Watch the jump from Hagen. Just wait for it. He always has started very early. There he goes again, the same spot right out of turn number 4. He gets a huge jump. 0.7 of a second already the gap. Kevin Feemster to the inside of Mark Dila. It will be 3 to go next time by. Oh, and they are tight. Almost 3 wide down that back straight. Feemster's got to get moving. So does Mark. 1.15 seconds the gap. I tell you, the restart's really the key here to John Hagen getting away with this lead. 1.2 seconds the gap. Dila, he's going to have to put in a miraculous finish here. These two side by side. Feemster, Painter, Pittman. Look at Kent now on the outside of Withers. Feemster leading this mad collection behind him. Third through 7th within 0.7 of a second. White flag is out on board with Tommy Withers. He sends it in on Matt Kent. Painter to the inside. He wants a great run off of turn number 4. Turn number 2, I'm sorry. Into 3. Feemster has one last chance to defend. Painter is going to give it one more on that number 1 car. Painter's into the wall. Feemster will finish in 3rd. Ryan Pittman in 4th. Matt Kent 6th. I'm sorry, Dustin Painter in 4th. Pittman 5th. Matt Kent 6th. Tommy Withers in that 7th position. John Hagen, of course, winning this race by 1.5 seconds, and these drivers are going to have a big crash at the end of this one. John Hagen, your race winner tonight. Mark Dila with the silver medal, and Kevin Feemster will finish out in that 3rd position. So we're going to collect the drivers tonight. We're going to collect our top 3 fans. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with podium interviews. On the podium with our top 3 after that 7th round of racing. You know, for some reason that says Myrtle Beach Speedway, and we need to get that fixed. So let's turn it over to our 4th place finisher tonight, Dustin Painter. It was a really fun race tonight, man. You guys were turning some insane speeds.
Yeah, we were. Tough track. 2 nights in a row at Dover. I think we're all about ready to be done with Dover, but it's fun. Long green flag runs, and in fact, tire wear was a big issue. We didn't know if we were going to make it on tires or not. So, good race. Congratulations to Hagen. First start, first win. Pretty cool right there. Beamster had a heck of a battle with him, and just overall good race right there.
a good race at what apparently is Dover Beach Speedway. Whoever makes the graphics for these broadcasts is an absolute jerk and can't do these correctly to save his life. So we'll get that fixed. Don't worry. But we know we're at the right place. We know we're at Dover. You got yourself a 4th place finish. And then next week, Painter, we're going to Slinger. So we'll see you there for more fun.
All right, we'll see you there.
Tonight's 3rd place finisher, Kevin Feemster. Kevin, it was an awesome, awesome race tonight. You had some really good battling with the guys behind you.
Oh yeah, it was a blast, especially that first stint there. Just trying to figure out my tires. I wasn't once we took that green the second one. I knew I could push a little bit harder, and then we had that caution come out, which kind of screwed everything up. But God, the battle right there at the end, just defending like no other with Painter behind me and Pittman, that was so much fun. And the battle I had with Dila earlier in the race, it just really good racing tonight. Extremely fun, just hard nosed racing side by sides, just a lot of fun.
You guys look great out there. Mark Dela, I'm sorry, John Hagan. It was a fantastic run for you. Those restarts were at the start and after the halfway point, and then that final restart there, just launching out of turn number 4. That really seemed to be the key to your success.
Yeah, I focused a little bit, just getting comfortable launching on the gas. And I hadn't done it on worn tires, and on new tires, 90% gas when launching, so you could almost mat it, and it's really hard for them to time the restarts. But that helped getting out front, save tires, and it was a really good race. Thought Mark had something for me at the end. I was getting worried, and yeah, it was just stay consistent.
Okay, absolutely. I'll be honest, Mark. I didn't hear. I'm sorry. I keep calling you Mark. That's not your name. I'm sorry, John. I didn't hear a lot of that, but it sounded like just tires and gas, and it sounded like we'll see you next week at Slinger. And if that's not what you said, we'll still see you next week at Slinger. But in any case, congratulations on that win. We'll see you in a week.
Thank you, sir.
Fans at home, that's going to do everything. That's going to be everything. That's going to do it for us tonight. You know, I can't say it's been a train wreck, but I've been tripping over my words like crazy. So let's put this one to bed before it really goes downhill. John Hagan, your winner tonight at Dover, according to these graphics, Dover Beach Speedway and not the Dover Motor Speedway. We're going to Sonoma this Thursday in TNT. I know that's correct, I think. I'll double-check the schedule. But, yes, this Thursday night, 8:40 Eastern, right here, Rig James, the Gen 4 cars will be at Sonoma. So until that next race, everybody please stay safe. Do take care of each other, and